Hey guys, welcome back to Shop 209. I figured I'd make a quick video on the top 10 list of questions asked about 68 to 74 Novas. Now, some of these are out of order. The first couple of them are definitely the top 2 questions. The first, number 1 question asked is, what's the biggest tire I can put on the back of my 68 to 74 Nova? Now, the 68 to 74 are pretty much the same rear end. The quarter panel is a little different, but everything else is the same. The wheel wells all the same. Now, I've got a 275/60/15 on this car. That's the most common large size. Some guys will beat some stuff and put a little bit bigger tire on there as far as 15-inch wheels go. But for the most part, this is it. The combination is questionable. Now, most guys will tell you a 5.5-inch back spacing on a 15x8 wheel, and then that'll get you in there. Sometimes you got to use a 1/4-inch spacer. Well, my 73 car has a 5-inch wheel on it, and it had these drag radials on it for a long time. I didn't have to run a spacer or anything. 5-inch kind of seems to be the perfect width on most cars. Now, all these cars are a tiny bit different. You know, depends on how old they are, how much wear they've got in bushings and stuff like that. But on this car, a 5.5-inch actually put me up against the frame on this side. So I ended up going with 4.5-inch back spacing because these wheels were not available in 5-inch. So I'm really close on my wheel lip here, but basically 5-inch if you can get them, and 5.5-inch works on the car. Kind of do some measuring, see where you're at, but 275/60/15, 5.5-inch back spacing, 15x8 wheel. That's really the combination. You can space that out with a spacer if you need to. Some guys don't like running spacers. It just depends. The number 2 question, that could almost be number 1, it's pretty much a tie, is how do I tell if my car's an SS? Well, from 68 to 74, the only year that it's in the VIN is 1972. If the 5th digit is a K, that means you have an L48 engine, only available in the SS, which makes the car an SS. All other years, you really need a build sheet or original paperwork to prove it's an SS. Now, there are some things, if you have other years had SS only engines, if you have that engine and it's got the original VIN stamp on the block, then yes, it's a real SS. But those can be kind of faked. So, like I said, the best way is real paperwork, unless it's a 1972. I've also done other videos on that. I'll put a link at the top. Okay, third most popular question. I've got a 73 or 74 Nova. I want to swap the front to a 68 to 72. Is it easy? What do I need to do? Will it bolt on? Yes, it's easy to do. It's a little bit of work, but it will bolt on. The fenders are the same. You will need a hood if you want it perfect because the molding doesn't fit the same on the 73 hood. You'll need some other parts. I'll put a video link at the top of the screen here. Shows you how to do all that. But yes, you can do it. It's a bolt-on. The rear, you got to do some cutting and welding if you want to swap the rear. I've also got a video on that. I'll put it right here. Number 4, I need a subframe for my car. What years fit? 68 to 74, same subframe. Now, there are some minor differences from year to years. I think they moved the bump stops between 68 and 70, I think, on the front control arms. A couple of little things like that. The bolt holes in 1974 are different because they had the shock absorbers on the front. 73 all the way back to 68, same bolt pattern in all of them that I've seen. And 67 to 69 Camaro subframes are the same as the 68 to 74 Nova. Okay, 5th most popular question, rear ends. What rear end will fit my Nova? All right, if you have a 68 to 74 Nova, 3rd generation, any rear end from a 67 through 69 Camaro is the same width, will bolt right in. Any rear end from a 68 to 79 Nova will bolt in as the correct width. The one exception is multi-leaf and monoleaf springs. From 68 to 74, you can get cars, well 68 to 72, you can get cars in multi-leaf or monoleaf. The multi-leaf pockets on the rear end are deeper, the monoleaf are smaller. There's a slight width variance also. Now, as long as you're swapping leaf springs with the rear end, doesn't matter. 75 to 79, the multi-leaf rear ends, I think, had an extra leaf in them over the 68 to 74 multi-leaf rears. So you might have to put a 1-leaf spacer in for that or take a leaf out. I'm not positive on that. I just learned that recently. Someone corrected me on a forum, and I appreciate the information, whoever you were. Anyway, 68 to 79 Novas, same width rear end. 67 to 69 Camaro, same width rear end. It should bolt in as long as you're matching the right leaf springs. Okay, next question. What rear end do I have in my car? Well, pretty much from 68 to 74, you had 3 rear ends you could get. You had the 8.2 10 bolt, the 12 bolt, and the 8.5 10 bolt, known as the big 10 bolt. How do you tell the difference? Well, if your rear end is pretty much round with 1 bolt in the center, 10 total, you've got a 10 bolt 8.2. If you've got an 8.5 inch big 10 bolt, the bottom corners will have squares on them like this, and you'll have 10 bolts going around. The 12 bolt, easy way for me to tell, you've got 2 bolts beside each other at the bottom. You've got an 8 3/4 inch ring gear here, 8.5 inch here, 8.2 here. That's why this is the strongest. This is almost the same strength. They both have the same size pinion. This one has a smaller pinion and a smaller ring gear diameter. Now, even though the 10 bolts have 10 bolts on the cover and the 12 bolt has 12 bolts on the cover, complete coincidence probably, the 10 bolt and 12 bolt actually means how many ring gear bolts are holding the ring gear onto the carrier. Also, an upgrade you can do, 8.5 rear ends had 28 spline axles. 12 bolt rear ends had 30 spline axles. You can actually get a posi unit that is 30 spline for the 8.5. It's a later model one. If you put that in there and you use 12 bolt axles, you have strengthened your 8.5 up a pretty good bit. Okay, the next popular question for Novas is what seat will fit my car? Well, 68 to 74 Novas, the front and rear seats on 2 doors pretty much all interchange with the exception of some bucket seats. The bolt pattern might be a little different. If you have bench seats, the bolt pattern is all the same in my experience. Now, there might be a slight variation in some years, but I've never had one that didn't bolt in. Pretty much a bench seat from any year, 68 to 74, will work. A 4-door bench seat will work, but the seats don't fold forward, so you can't get access to the back seat. The rear seat on a 4-door, well, the bottom is different because it's curved, it's not squared off, so that when you open up the door, you can get in, you got more leg room. Other than that, 68 to 74 seats pretty much interchange. Another popular question. I want to put a big block in my 68 to 74 Nova. It already has a small block in it. What do I need? Well, you're going to need a big block. You're going to need big block frame mounts that go on the frame stands, frame mounts, whatever you want to call them. You're going to need a big block specific one of those. And then you're going to need headers, and then you're going to need all your accessories for the front. That's pretty much it. Now, if you have power brakes, the large 11-inch power brake booster is probably going to hit your valve covers unless you've got a really low profile valve cover on the big block. One thing that the motor mounts do is they shift the engine off to the side about 1.5 inches to 2 inches off to the passenger side. If you're running a Turbo 400 transmission, a factory Turbo 400 cross member also offsets the transmission to the passenger side. So if you want to put a big block in your car, you're going to need probably a little bit more radiator, maybe. You're going to need headers, you're going to need frame stands, you're going to need a smaller brake booster if you got the 11-inch, and you're going to need a big block. Okay, another popular question. What is the best aftermarket parts that fit my car? Well, I like to use AMD. I haven't used a ton of other parts by other people, so I'm not going to say that they're the best, but I've used them on a few cars and they've all fit very well. Do all aftermarket parts fit good? No, some of them fit terrible. Some of the AMD stuff I've had to adjust and squeeze and tweak a little bit. You know, these cars are 40, 50 years old almost, and it's you know, they've all moved around, they've twisted, they've banged, and I've changed a couple of NOS parts before. They didn't fit a lot better than your aftermarket stuff that's made overseas. Like I said, the cars were put together in the factory by people that put them together all day long. If you do one quarter panel in your life and you complain about the fit, it's probably you. Now, plenty of aftermarket parts are junk. Don't get me wrong. I get that. But ask around, see what people are using. And a lot of it is experience. An experienced body guy can make a crappy panel fit faster than a novice can with a perfect panel. So really it's experience versus, you know, quality. And number 10, well, this is from a 73, 74 guys. Now I love my 73 Nova. One of the problems if you have a 73 or 74, other than people making fun of you for having a 73 or 74, screw you guys, Anyway, is where to find parts. Well, a lot of stuff from 68 to 74 interchanges. Most of the interior does not. The seats do, sure. From the dash forward, same car. When you get to the door panels, the A pillars, the B pillars, the C pillars, the cell panels, your rear door panels, all of that stuff is different. All your headliner trim, your headliner parts, most of it is not reproduced. I think the front door panels are available, and they're 4 times the price of the 68 to 72 ones. The back panels are not available. The headliner trim, not available. The sail panels on the back, not available. I mean, it sucks. The kick panels are the same, thank God. Like I said, everything from the front forward. Finally, they're reproducing bumpers for these cars. Now, the impact strip, if you've got a custom like mine or an SS and it has the rubber strip on your 73, 74 bumper, not available. You can find an NOS one once in a while. Maybe they're available now and I just haven't found them. I haven't looked in the past couple of months. But there's a ton of stuff for these cars that is slowly being produced, but a lot of it's not. Your grill now you can get, some of your rear tail lights you can get, the tail light panel you can get, the full quarter panel you cannot get. So 73, 74 guys, my suggestion is go to there's a couple of Facebook groups for that, Chevy Novas 73, 74. Awesome site, tons of information. It is just for 73, 74 Novas. They also have a sister site that is for the BOP cars, the Buick, the Oldsmobile, and the Pontiac cars. They also have a sister site for that. Tons of help on there. Go there and check that out. Now, if you need some parts that aren't made for 68, 72 Novas, there's several Facebook groups, Chevy Nova Nation, 68, 72 Novas, 68, 72 Chevy Nova, Nova Monsters, all kinds of Novas group. There's a ton of Facebook groups. I'm a member on all of them, and all the guys are real helpful about finding parts. Anyway, thanks for checking out this video. Like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time.